Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first of our In Conversation with series this year. We are back in 2023 and we're back with a bang because I am delighted to welcome somebody that I've known for many years now. Absolutely wonderful. And I'm so grateful for her to be able to give up her time and gift it to us today. So please welcome Sandy Farar, who is the Business Services Partner for Arup in the Midlands. So Sandy, how are you?
I am very well, thank you, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here. Delighted for the invitation. I'm very proud to be part of
Yeah.
this community.
Thank you so much. I know you've been incredibly supportive for the PA Forum over the many years that we've known each other. And we go back quite a long way because we've got same friendship groups that we know people from the same friendship group. And I remember meeting you, I think it was way back in your Capita days. And I'd only just come back to the UK then from working overseas. And what's been lovely is to hear about some of the adventures that Sandy's been on, which I'm sure she's going to be sharing with us today. So what we love to do at the beginning of these sessions is kind of open it up with a little bit more personal information, perhaps about Sandy. Now, I know, Sandy, that you've been on a particular adventure recently, haven't you?
I think my life is one whole adventure. I am a very impulsive person. So I recently, just in the last 3 months, decided I've always wanted to go to South Africa. Oh, what the heck? I don't need somebody to go to South Africa with. I'm just going to go. So I booked a flight, found a hotel, went off to Joburg, went on safari, fell in love with the lions. It was just a little bit of an adventure.
Amazing. So what was it like? Was that the first time you've been on holiday on your own, if you don't mind me asking?
Yes, other than a business trip, that was the first time. But I think it depends on individuals. But me, it wasn't an all-inclusive. It was just like more of a city break. So lots to do, lots to see. And the best place to always start is the hotel bar. If you sit there and you start getting to know the waiters, the bar staff, and then before you know it, you know every other guest in the hotel. I ended up going out for dinner with a few of them. I went on safari with different people. So yeah, it is an opportunity to make new friends.
Absolutely. I went on holiday myself in December on my own. And so for anyone that might be thinking, about going away on your own, if you want to have a chat with me and Sandy, we can give you a couple of tips on how to get those bar people on board for sure. You're
Okay.
absolutely right, Sandy. It's the best place to base yourself when you're on holiday on your own, isn't it? For sure.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about you as well.
So my background, I don't know if you can tell, whilst I've lived in Birmingham for the last 32 years, I was actually born in Hitchin in Hertfordshire. I was raised in Southampton, and I didn't move to Birmingham until I was 19 years old. But I've tried so hard to keep that Brummie accent away. So yeah, that's my background. I love cooking. I love socialising, as you know, Dan.
Yeah.
And I've recently fallen in love with a four-legged partner in life now. So coming back from holiday, I literally went to a dog's trust thinking I was just going to walk a few dogs and maybe foster a dog over the Christmas period. Fell in love with this beautiful dog. Her name's Phoebe. She's 6. She's a rescue greyhound, and she's just the love of my life and just completely changed me now. So yeah, that's me.
Absolutely. But I think you said when we spoke that you were fostering her, weren't you? And then
I was
you,
going to, and I couldn't afford the fact that somebody else might take her. I literally phoned up the next day and went, no, I'm adopting her.
yeah, absolutely. I love that, Sandy. No, well, thank you ever so much. And I know that we've got many, many different people who have joined the call today. Please bring Phoebe in. I love that. Please bring Phoebe into the office, Sandy. But yeah, it's we've got many people who have joined the call today for many, many different reasons, and everyone's very excited to hear from you. So when we start this, we kind of take you right back to where your career first started. So can you take us right back to the beginning, please, Sandy?
Oh yeah, but that's quite scary. So my career, funnily enough, and not a lot of people know this, started in banking. I started working for Barclays Bank when I was just 16 years old. I didn't go to college or university initially. And literally my career has just been moving in from a number of roles to a number, to new roles, and then moving on to local government work, call center work, working in transformation and transition. It's just been an education experience of life. But I'd say I've worked for some really inspirational leaders who have seen that potential in me and allowed me to grow and develop, and they've been the mentors that have got me to where I am today.
Amazing. I'm so sorry. There's a gardener in the communal area that's just started mowing the lawn. So I do apologise if you can hear it.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. So I remember meeting you, well, but like I say, when you was back in the Capita days, I think you were managing my best friend at the time, which is a very, very, I get to hear about all the fantastic stories, Sandy. And I think what was really great for me to hear personally from him is the transformation, that you're very, very transformational focused. So, you know, he's always said to me, she'll come into a business, she'll look at the business and she transforms the business. And I think that is a real big compliment, because that must be really, really difficult to do. So can you tell us a little bit about what it was like when you were at Capita?
Oh, wow. So I was lucky enough to join Capita, going back again, probably 18 years, 20 years ago. And I started off in learning and development. So it was very much about getting the best out of people. And so that's when I first became a people manager. And being in a learning and development industry, knowing about how to performance manage and how to work with other companies and put in training courses on how to get better leaders in business, it was just the best experience. So it was a foundation for me. And then moving on from that and became a people manager, then I ended up working for different Capita divisions. So, you know, it was process management, a local government transformation. I've worked with Hull City Council when it was City of Culture. I've worked with Worcester County Council. I've worked with so many, and it's just been an experience. And once you have a set of skills, you can take them anywhere. It's just amazing. But yeah, for me, it's all about getting the best out of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do you find sometimes that when you come into these environments that it can be quite fragmented, or there might be some, you know, the workplace is never perfect. There's, you know, potentially conflicts going on, or there's potentially, you know, sometimes misbehaving, or there's sometimes performance reviews or performance management that's required. So do you see that as a real challenge when you go into any business and kind of look at that and think, how can I bring all of this together?
Yeah, it is a challenge, but it's an opportunity, because nobody wants to be in those conflicts. Nobody wants to be in that environment. And it's about enabling people, bringing them together. And for me, it's, you know, it's not necessarily tough love, but honesty and openness. And I think I've always been a bit of a mother figure, having two grown-up girls, and, you know, always wanted the best out of them. And I think I have those maternal instincts when I come to work as well. I try not to mother people, but it's that kind of, come on, we don't want to be here. What are we going to do to get it better?
Yeah, absolutely. And then so when you were working at Capita, when did this opportunity for Arup come up? Because I remember when Arup was built on Blythe Valley, it was like so many. How long ago? How long has the office been there in Solihull?
This office has been here just over 21 years. But
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that at the time. I actually got headhunted to come and work for Arup, and I didn't even know who Arup were at the time. So, and since then, everything you touch, everywhere you go, everywhere you look, there is an element of Arup. It's such an amazing business to work for. So, yeah, I came in on initially a 12-month contract to cover somebody's maternity leave. And it was, I say just, but the initial element was to look after the support staff and be a people manager. Within 6 months of being here, I had some great directors and great people here that realised I had more experiences, more skills that are transferable. So they decided to give me more departments and more work. And then I just grew, and then I became a permanent member of the team. And literally started working on transforming ways of working, improving processes. I came in and took on some serious issues that they didn't know what to do with. I know it sounds really silly, but overcrowded car parks in Solihull because we're off the M42. I brought in promotion to cycling to work, bringing in shuttle bus services to make it easy for people to get to the office. shuttle buses from local train stations. I partnered, we're the first Arup site to partner with Lift Share, who are a fantastic company, and we've done a lot of promotion with them together jointly, to reduce the number of cars on the road, and to reduce the number of, the impact to the environment. So, those were kind of a couple of key wins when I came in. But I also then, we knew that there was going to be a move to the city centre at some point. So I then set up our first satellite office in Birmingham, where we rented a small office in Alpha Tower. And I set that up in 2019. And that was our foundation, really, of moving to the city in our first steps.
So has sustainability, the environment, has that always been something that's been personally really important to you? And is that was that opportunity, were these opportunities initiatives that you went out and looked for, or has that culture kind of changed with Arup as it's a civil engineering company, so there's an engineering company, so I would imagine you guys are always trying to lead the way with sustainability and projects that you're working on. So was it something that when you came into Solihull, because I remember trying to park when you invited me in to meet the PA community, and you kindly reserved me a parking space, and I went into the car park, I was like, wow, like there's 1,000 people working in this office. And it was, there was nowhere to put any more cars, really. I think that was quite a challenging project that you had to work with, wasn't it? And I know that you worked very closely with Dean on that, and you both worked in partnership to be able to pioneer that project. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that was when, so I've always been, at the end of the day, we want to make sure the planet is left in a good place for our future children, grandchildren, etc. So of course it's important to look after the planet, the environment. But I think my eyes have been opened up by Arup more so than ever about our goals to, use public transport, net infrastructure is there, to decarbonize, we are aiming to be by 2030 carbon net zero for our new building. And everything we do, everything we build, every advice and every bit of consultancy work we do is with sustainability and the environment in mind. Even projects like HS2, we've got an environmental team that go out there and are looking at bat conservations and what it does to the environment. So everything we do has key message of sustainable future and a better place for the world, to live in.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. And just to take you back to those days where you were the business services manager, and you obviously came in and there was a really lovely, I loved going in to meet the team, and there's a fantastic population of and team of PAs and assistants that were in Arup's office. And I used to admire, we used to go to a Manchester PA Awards, and Arup would always constantly be up for awards up in the north as well. And I know that you were really making sure that they were really represented and that they had their voice as a department, and also that there was opportunities that were available for them. But did you find that when you came in there was a different sort of culture potentially towards PAs, and then you really kind of wanted to bring that together? How did that work?
Oh, absolutely. So I think when I came along, it was about bringing the team together. There wasn't enough collaboration. There wasn't enough getting together, networking. So one of my missions was to bring various departments in the team. So, whether you work in building or consulting at the time or infrastructure, you're working as support staff, you've all got really good key skills, and you've got things that you can share knowledge with. So it was allowing the team to come together, regular meetings, and like the meetings where you came to as well, so they wouldn't operate in isolation anymore in silos, and it allowed the business to be more joined up and encourage networking and sharing knowledge. And from that, joining the PA forum and the network, it was a massive step in getting them to really appreciate that they are professionals in their field and they are the key to the success of the business. They're not, in the old-fashioned way, admin staff. They're the glue that hold it all together. So it was getting them recognised. That was the most important thing.
Yeah, and like I say, you, Arup, and you particularly, you know, when you started working there, and I know Dean's been nominated before, Louise has been nominated before, Nikki, Lydia, like I know there's quite a few of you on the call as well today and that I just think when it's interesting for me when we see a company that we've not really heard much from, and then suddenly there's a change of some description, and it's almost like it opens up a jar, and there's just suddenly all of this communication, lots of different opportunities. And I just think, how was it for you when you first started making nominations for the awards? How was that what was the reaction across the office for that when people started to think about them?
It was great, but it came from almost not being there to being there. So first, there's a lot of shyness. I still have members of my team that go, "Don't nominate me." They're really shy and stuff. I'm like, be proud. And, that's because people are humble. People work so hard and they don't even realize how good they are. People don't realize they deserve reward and recognition. So it's kind of now, over the years, it's become a bit more buzzy.
Yeah.
And initially it was like, no, don't nominate me, don't do this. So yeah, it's getting them to realize that it actually talk about it, be loud and proud. It's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Arup, I think you can see that they're really key about personal and professional development, because I think I've spoken to Adam Fiddler before, and I know that Arup have had a relationship with him for some of the training that they've done with some of the support teams, which has been amazing. You've also got a fantastic internal communication system to work from as well, don't you? Where the communication, not just from the Midlands area, but across the whole of the support teams for Arup. I think I've seen that in one of the nominations one year as well, where there's a really good communication tool as well. Is that
Yeah.
something that Arup built, or is that a particular piece of software?
What has happened, COVID was responsible for a lot of things developing, growing, and us embracing. So before it was everybody's in the office. We get through COVID, everybody's working from home. People thought, oh, how are you going to be able to do your job from home? How can you support somebody sitting at home? Well, actually, we turned that on its head and showed how good we could do it and how close we could be to our directors, the people we support, the projects, the clients, because tools like Zoom, tools like Microsoft Teams, everything. People can actually attend more meetings by Teams than having to run from one office to another or from one meeting room to another. It's actually really effective. So I think the whole community became more joined up during COVID because of having to be all distant from each other.
Well, let's talk about the project management side of this with you, because obviously this is an absolutely massive project. So you've got an office based on a business park where 1,000 people have worked. You've come out of the pandemic, which I did feel a bit for Dean, bless him, because he'd just done this big massive car parking project, and then the pandemic happened and nobody's
coming in anymore now. The car park's half empty.
Yeah, so you are effectively shutting down, I guess, or in phases, this huge office that you've got now, whilst managing the project of a complete office build. So how did that, when this initial move was coming up, when was it, when did all this process start to happen? When was the initial idea?
It was decided way back, a couple of years back, that the authority and government were going to invest in the Paradise Estate and rejuvenate Birmingham. And Arup obviously worked very closely with that. But we knew we were going to go into the city, and where we were going to go was never confirmed until I think we announced in August 2021 that we were going to move to number 1 Centenary Way. And, already we'd had number 1 Chamberlain Square, number 2, and all those buildings. And we waited and we thought, no, number 1 Centenary Way, a prime site, right at the beginning. So we thought that's going to be us. So that's when it was announced in 2021. Obviously, I knew when I joined Arup in 2018 that the future was going to be moving back to the city, but no decisions have been made. But bearing in mind, our office here in the Midlands is the 3rd largest globally. So of all the countries and all the offices, 3rd largest, London being the largest, then Hong Kong, then Birmingham. So we are going to be relocating close to 1,000 employees to our new office, which is going to be our international growth hub, right bang in the middle of the UK. Be close to the clients, be close to collaborators. We want to invest into Birmingham City and the community as well. So it is really exciting, and there's lots of good reasons why we're doing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I loved, I saw your post the other day, and I know when we spoke at one of our last events that you are really pushing forward with CSR as kind of a real key focus for you. I mean, when I worked at the NEC, we looked at the NEC master plan for 5 years, and it was where the HS2 hub was going to be built, and Arup were going to be engineering that hub and working with all the different building partners to do it. And I saw it on the news the other week that it is going to be one of the most sustainable buildings ever built, which I think is amazing, completely self-sufficient, which is fantastic. And I suppose when you're building things like that, the inspiration from your own office has to kind of fit very much within that remit and those ideas and suggestions. So can you tell us about how that, what sort of quirks the office is going to have that some of us might not have or had chance to look into yet, and the new kind of things that are coming in that are really interesting?
Yeah, sure. So a bit of background, by us becoming the occupier and saying that we're going to take over some floors of One Centenary Way, it meant we were able to have a positive influence over the design of the base build. So that's when we were able to say we want it to be the most sustainable building in the city. It was originally designed to have gas and electric, but we wanted to avoid fossil fuel and operate a building that was looking for a fully electric building to occupy. So we managed to persuade MEPC that a fully electric building was the future to sustainable building development. And from that, we also said that we wanted it to become a smart enabled building. So we were able to negotiate with the landlord of, bringing in elements of operating the building, such as access control, the HVAC, energy metering, lighting, lifts. All of that is going to be smart, intelligent, so air quality, etc. We also want the building to be incorporate well building standards to promote health and well-being. We've worked with some great architects to include the design has going to have neurodiverse workstations, workplaces, and elements of the office. And that's a range of meeting rooms, areas, collaboration spaces. So not just your typical work desks, and a variety of shaped desks as well, and monitors. But the really exciting bit, and this is where you can get too much into engineering, and I'm a little bit quirky with all these areas, I'm so proud of them, but the design is incorporating all natural recycled materials. And that includes the paint, the carpets, the walls, as well as the furniture, which I've got a key part in playing in the furniture and fit out. So, lighting and ventilation is going to be smartly monitored and accessed, but we're also bringing in on-site facilities such as cycle storage, shower rooms, promote active travel. I know I'm just so passionate, you can't stop me talking now, because we are about to join up with a social enterprise to run our on-site staff cafe, because we want to give back to the community and make a difference. And one of the things we were able to negotiate was have our own front door and our ground floor reception. And we've actually created a ground floor reception, which is going to have an exhibition space, a space where we can bring in the local community, arts, culture, schools, and work with local charities. And we're going to have a number of exhibitions throughout the year. So people from the public can come in and use that space. Anybody can. And that's why we want it. We want it to make a difference in the city.
I mean, that is absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, I can see, I love looking at Sarah James's face on this call, because she's just like, wow, oh my God, this is amazing. It is absolute. I think a lot of us are in a position at the moment where, historically we've had buildings that we need to manage and buildings that we need to change and transfer. So to have the opportunity to have a complete build that you've had such a huge influence in is truly inspiring, because I can imagine that would have been quite difficult to try and do initially, to try and encourage those changes, particularly on the budgets, and if people have got particular budgets they're working with. But have you had to make significant investments in that building for those changes?
Oh, absolutely. Do you know, we probably spent way more millions than we needed to. If we wanted a building that was functional, we could have saved a fortune, but by investing the extra budget, we've actually made a legacy and made it so it's future proof. So it's all about investing now to invest in the future. And yes, it's been worth it.
And I think what's particularly lovely is it's very rare to find a space in Birmingham central that will be there to be able to support the local community. Like, we get charities all the time. We've got charity members who are on this call at the moment who they want to have a meeting space. They want to be able to talk about projects that they're doing that are really going to impact the local area or really impact lives. And, you know, the hotel rates at the moment in the city are just absolutely, you know, ginormous. You know, they're trying to recover from the pandemic. So to the fact that you've got this kind of space that's there to be able to support the local community, I think is just absolutely fabulous. That's amazing. And we would absolutely love to come in and have a look, Sandy, when the invitation and the doors fly open.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know what? You are going to be on top of my list. Everybody, and we want everybody to be welcome. We'll go through a phased move into the building to get everybody in safely, but once we've got everybody in, we will have a launch exhibition as well with a ribbon cutting. You know, I don't know if King Charles is watching, but if he is, and if he wants to come and cut our ribbon, we'd be more than ecstatic. So we're aiming high, but yes, you're definitely invited.
I love that, but they always say in network you're only 3 steps away from the person that you really want, you know, that you really want
so
to
I'm
connect.
hoping somebody's got a connection here and is going to take this back to Buckingham.
I was going to say, anyone that's got a King Charles connection, just let him know. We need some ribbon cutting for Arup's new building in Birmingham, absolutely.
Definitely.
So tell me about when the business services partner, because career growth and ambition and aspiration is something that's really quite close to our members as well. So how did the business services partner opportunity come about? Is it something that did you have a meeting and be like, you know, this is what I want to do, what is this going to look like? Was there a job advertised? How did that work?
Gosh, it's been like I don't know, like a roller coaster, you know, highs and lows, but I don't think I've ever, until I joined Arup, loved every day of coming to work. Every day is a pleasure because it's with passion and enthusiasm. It doesn't feel like a job. It feels like a style of living, and what I'm doing is there's a purpose to it. So we're going back 5 years ago. I joined on a 12-month contract as a business services manager, but Arup helped facilitate my development, and they supported me in becoming a chartered manager with the CMI. So I wouldn't be where I am today if Arup hadn't seen that in me and put me through that. And then I was promoted to business services partner back in April 2021, so 2 years. Don't know what's going to come next, but yeah, that's when I got promoted. That's all thanks to Arup, though, and seeing that potential in me.
And were you very much part of that meeting to kind of shape your role? Because I think the last time I spoke to you, when we saw you face to face when Arel opened, to now, your role's evolved even more since then. So
it keeps evolving, and I love it. That's why it's never a dull moment. So because of working on this Birmingham office move project, it's evolving again, because I've always been responsible for the operational running of all our Midlands sites. And there's a Nottingham site, our Solihull site, and our Birmingham satellite site. And that includes building management, contract management, front of house, catering, hospitality, as well as 23 support staff and the health and safety in the offices. But, and with that, budget management, operational strategies and changes. But working on this Birmingham office move project and operational readiness now is my new challenge. It's the partnering. It means that I get to really have a say and, you know, of how our future will look like and how we want the field to be.
So when did you start working with Dean?
Oh, Dean joined Arup about 4 years ago, bless him. He joined as my personal assistant 3 days a week. And I think I just threw him into the deep end, and he's just been marvelous. Do you know, he's probably the brains and everything that happens for it, you know, the calm one. I just take the credit. And he's in the background doing all the work. So yeah, Dean joined about 4 years ago, and that was new for him. But we've learned how to work together because I'd never had a personal assistant before. And Dean had not been a personal assistant before, you know, but we just work. Now, if I'm not there, Dean knows exactly how I'd react to something or what I'd want to say or my response would be, and he can cover for me, so to speak.
Yeah.
But he always stays, you know, behind the limelight. So yeah, he's very humble, but absolutely superb.
I've got to say, when I'm communicating with you, but it is like I'm communicating with like two people that are one. It's fantastic. I either speak to you or speak to Dean, which I love, which is great. But it's great to hear that you've got. What is it nice to have a male female dynamic as well, because we don't find many you know PAs EAs that are male, so is it nice to have that kind of dynamic between it?
Should be more of them. I mean, I am quite a versatile person. I when I was young, I used to be a bit of a tomboy. I grew up with stepbrothers. I was never a girly girl. So for me, it's always like I'd rather, you know, go to the pub with the blokes, play a game of cards, and you know, and be one of the lads. So for me, absolutely. You know, Arup is such a diverse employer that, you know, we do want that diverse, you know, group of members and employees. So it shouldn't be that's male dominated, that's female dominated. You know, we look at all diverse, you know, people. We want it to be like that. So yeah, I'm proud as punch. More male PAs, bring them on.
And also you've so Chris Crossan, who you work with, didn't he come over from did you work with him at Capita?
I worked with Chris 10 years ago at Capita. And I actually remember leaving Capita, and I knew he was a rising star, and moved out of a management role and went to another company and just dumped him. And I went, you'll be fine. You'll be the future me. You're going to be the manager. And, you know, he grew. I watched his development grow. And literally after 9-10 years, it's gone full circle. And he's worked for some great organizations, and he's great, you know, enhanced his skills. And then literally an opportunity came up here, and he said, what do you think? And I went, my God, I think you'd be great, apply for it. But obviously, because I knew him, I couldn't interview him because I'd known his career journey all the way through. And I thought, oh gosh, I don't want it to be a little bit biased. So I just put him in front of a different set of managers to be interviewed, and they just saw potential and went, yes, he's amazing. And I went, there you go, I knew he'd make it. So yeah, now he's here as well.
So are the three of you working quite closely together as well? So are you all, so
yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. We all have very, very different jobs to do. And sometimes you can go through a whole day and our paths won't cross, and we'll have literally 3 or 4 sentences or lines or exchange emails. Sometimes we're not even in the same site or office. But yes, we do. And it's nice to work with people that I know, I trust, I've worked with before, and we've got same values, same aspirations and same goals, because you know you've got a trusted team around you. That makes a big difference.
I think what's lovely as well is you see, you know, some of the ladies that are on the call today that have been with Arup for many, many years. You've got a fantastic retention rate there. You know, you seem to have a great that community spirit is fantastic, and people are very much staying with Arup, and I think that's an absolute accolade. But I'm interested to know what has been the reaction to moving to Birmingham, because I can imagine if people are commuting into the city centre now, sometimes that can be slightly different. So was it really welcomed, this move, or was it sometimes a bit challenging as well?
So we try to bring people along this journey over the whole last 4 or 5 years, so nothing's a surprise. So they've had an input even before we knew where we were going to move. It was workshops and collaboration to get feedback on any anxieties, fears, or what you're looking forward to. And that really helped to shape the decision of where we are, what kind of building, what we incorporate. So it's all about listening to our members. Of course, now, with it being so near, we're moving this year, there's all that, oh my God, we're nearly there. And it's been this years and years of a journey, and it's finally there, the final countdown. Very, very exciting. And do you know, people are human. some people will feel nervous and anxious, some people will be really excited, and there's pros and cons for you know, everything. You know, you're never going to get it 100% right, but what we'll try to do more than anything else is to alleviate those anxieties. You know, we're trying together now already, look at our experiences for our staff and say, right, let's put a travel guide together. Let's see what we can do. How can we make it easier? We've got flexible working. We've got work and bound, so you can work from home. You know, we're trying to do everything to make sure that we take everybody with us to the new office.
Were you nervous with the flexible working policy about having this new office and potentially whether there was what the landscape was going to look like after we came out of COVID? Because obviously you would have probably been mid project then, I guess, and then thinking, oh, like, you know, was there a little bit of you know, hesitation perhaps about what that was going to look like?
I don't think there was hesitation, but I think the fact that COVID happened really happened at a great time to be able to influence how we designed and the layout and the workspace.
Yeah.
Had it not happened and everybody had worked from the office and people hadn't worked from home and there wasn't that split, we maybe wouldn't have had the insight that we have now. So really, it's helped us to create a better use of that space. Yeah, and hopefully we've got it right, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, that's I never thought of that. You know, it was I guess if we've got to take positives out of any situation, haven't we? That it was the perfect time, really, to kind of sit down and think, well, let's rework this slightly and see how this is going to be really good for everybody. And obviously, with all the different shared spaces and collaboration spaces as well, it hopefully will encourage people to come back into the office.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shiny and new, and they're really proud of it, you know, and they might want to come back in and see all the fantastic things that you've done. So that's amazing. But I think to wrap up today, Sandy, I would say, look, what sort of, you know, we've got members that are all experience levels, whether they're an office junior all the way up to kind of, you know, a business support manager role, etc. What would the three kind of nuggets of takeaways or information would you kind of share with people that are on the call today?
Okay, so I'd firstly say embrace every opportunity and challenge that's thrown at you. Enjoy it, take it on board. Don't try to do everything. Nobody knows everything. Get people involved around you. Use the support network you've got around you and the specialisms. No man is an island. And mostly nurture talent. Give people opportunities to develop and thrive. And for me, the biggest thing is don't forget to recognise and reward people when they're you know, when they achieve some great things.
Yeah, amazing. Sandy, we cannot wait to come and visit the new office. And I just want to say, you know, to all the team, to you and all the team at Arup, a huge congratulations, because you go into Birmingham now and the landscape just completely changes every single time you go in. And I think it's really inspiring for other businesses as well that are maybe looking at relocation projects or building projects, that you really are leading by example, by having the opportunity to be able to implement all of that. So congratulations to you all. We wish you all the best with the move, and we can't wait to see. So thank you, Sandy. I'm going to just take just going to stop the recording and then we can open up for any questions. So thank you very much again, Sandy.
Thank you.